everyone. So today we're going to explore how water can reverse climate change. In fact, it might be the only thing that can at this point. So if we solve the hydrological crisis, we will solve the climate crisis, period. That's why we have to start taking water more seriously. So in a climate change of increased CO2, only water has the potential of either enhancing or mitigating global warming, because water is the primary vehicle that redistributes the sun's energy around the planet as both a transducer and a conveyor of energy. So in other words, the more we deplete groundwater, the more CO2 will rise, and the more we replenish groundwater, the more CO2 will fall. Because all solar energy is made available for the planet's ecosystems to work through the phase changes of water. And when there isn't enough water to perform these phase changes, then that solar energy just stagnates and warms up the planet. Now, water is the only molecule that is able to affect the planet's climate on short time scales. Now consider this. 75% of water worldwide is used for agriculture. And that's because most places in the world use what's called flood irrigation, which wastes 50 to 80% of the water that it uses to seepage and evaporation, and it really overtills the soil, so then the soil is carried away by wind, causing more deserts. Now this is crucial because it means if we were to address agricultural water use, that alone would be enough to stop the water crisis and help halt climate change. Because water is cooling, right? We all know this. So of course it regulates atmospheric temperatures. When droughts that are caused by poor farming practices create new deserts, then there's less water available to circulate through that local hydrological cycle and cool the atmosphere there, and to pull the greenhouse gases out of the air by condensing them into water droplets. So from global scale phase changes to cloud microphysics to fluctuating sea surface temperatures to just atmospheric regulation, water is unequivocally the mediator of solar energy on Earth. So on this macro environmental scale, water is literally the intermediary between the sun and the planet's ecology. Now we lean way too heavily on just blaming pollution, but depletion of the hydrological cycle is just as great a cause of climate change as greenhouse gas emissions. Let me say that again. Depletion of the hydrological cycle is just as great a cause of climate change as greenhouse gas emissions. But no one's talking about it. Even if we were to immediately stop all carbon emissions, it wouldn't be enough to end the current climate challenges. We need to mimic nature to restore the hydrological cycle on a planetary scale in order to cool the planet. Now, it'll take hundreds of years for us to move the excess carbon out of the ocean and the atmosphere and back into the soil. So addressing greenhouse gas emissions is really not an effective strategy to solving this conundrum quickly. Only restoration of the hydrological cycle can make immediate short-term impacts. CO2, carbon, mediates less than 5% of the total energy in the atmosphere. 95% of the total energy in the atmosphere is governed by the Earth's hydrology. So if you want to learn how water can heal climate change, then check out my latest blog post on waterislife.love, which goes deeper into the science of exactly how this works, as well as some practical strategies on how to implement these changes and resources for further study. I hope you've gotten some value out of this, and if you learned something, please share it. And if you want to stay in the loop about water, you can visit my website, waterislife.love. Subscribe to the newsletter, follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of juicy water goodness on there. It's at JenIsabelFriend. Or come to one of my water workshops in person, like the upcoming water immersion retreat that we have in Guatemala in January, or in Thailand in May. And as always, I want to keep bringing you valuable content, so let me know what you want to know about water, and I'll do my best to make a post just for you. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and stay super hydrated.